Καλημέρα σας. Wow. Από πάντα τον παρακολουθώ και τον παρακολουθούμε και μας έχει προσφέρει πάρα πολλά δώρα. Όχι μόνο σε εμάς, αλλά και στους πάρα πολύ σημαντικούς σκηνοθέτες της σύγχρονης κινηματογραφίας με τους οποίους έχει συνεργαστεί. Όπως τον Μάρτιν Σκορσέζε, τον David Cronenberg, τον David Lynch, τον Alan Parker, τον Oliver Stone και πάρα πολλούς άλλους στην Αμερική, αλλά επίσης και στην Ευρώπη. Όπως και τον Λάρς Βον Τρίερ, με τον οποίο έχει συνεργαστεί και πρόσφατα, για δεύτερη φορά. Και βέβαια με τον δικό μας, τον Θεόδωρο Αγγελόπουλο. Επίσης έχει κάνει μια καταπληκτική δουλειά με ένα θεατρικό γκρουπ που έχει ιδρύσει, το Wooster Group. Έχει γράψει και με την γυναίκα του, την Giada Cologrande, και μια ταινία. Είναι ένας άνθρωπος με πολλά ταλέντα, αλλά το πιο μεγάλο του ταλέντο είναι η μεγάλη ειλικρίνεια με την οποία αντιμετωπίζει ό,τι κάνει και ιδιαίτερα κάθε ρόλο. Μπορεί να βγάλει το ζώο. Καλό τον καταπληκτικό μας Γιώργο Κρασ.
What's the difference between the two?
They're the same thing.
So I use two different words.
We need a little variety. Otherwise I'll be up here pretending.
So, your first film role was cut from the film. It was in Heaven's Gate.
Technically, that's my first studio movie. When I was starting out, I was acquainted with a lot of independent filmmakers, actually like 8mm filmmakers, kind of homemade filmmakers in the downtown scene in New York. So actually I'd made little films before that, but they were really not, regular features.
And then you had very interesting roles in films like The Loveless by Catherine Bigelow or To Live and Die in LA, but the movie that really set you apart and made your face recognizable and it made you a star, let's say, it was Oliver Stone's Platoon. It was your first nomination as well. You missed him by a couple of days. He was here at the festival. I think we could see a clip from that movie.
Okay.
Θα μιλήσετε στα ελληνικά ή στα αγγλικά?
In English.
In English, okay.
It's very nice to have you here.
Thanks.
In Greece there are two different basic approaches on how to interpret a character, and they're rather contradictory. One is to use yourself, be yourself, and the other one is to forget yourself. So would you would you say that there is a way to combine those two contradictory?
Yes.
So is it like using yourself and at the same time forgetting yourself? How do you go to the character? How do you work?
Okay, I think the same thing is true generally elsewhere. Those are two approaches. You know, I think about, I don't, you know, who you are and what your personality is. I kind of believe that is an illusion. It's something that we agree on. And when you're playing a character, you're inviting to be free of that idea of a fixed personality. And that's a wonderful opportunity. It's a wonderful opportunity to shift your point of view, shift your way of being. But it's still connected to who you are. You're still the engine. But, so I think I'm always hoping for some sort of transformation. But transformation from what? Well, it's got to start with yourself. You know, I watch Bobby Peru up there and I say, you know what? I should just shut my mouth. Because I got a confession to make. I watch that and I enjoy watching it. Normally I don't. I normally can't watch it, but that's been quite some time. And I can watch that and something comes alive for me. How that happens, I don't know.
Hi. What is your next movie?
I don't know. I finished this Lars von Trier movie last month, and I really don't know. My next movie may be with Giada Colagrande, who just happens to be my wife, or next one may be with Wim Wenders.
Μια ερώτηση πάνω. Αν μπορείτε να ανέβετε μέχρι εκεί. Ο κύριος. Και μετά εσείς.
Ladies first.
Okay. Ladies first.
Okay. Thank you very much. Speaking of transformations, I'm so curious, how did you approach the role of Max Schreck, since we didn't see any Shadow of the Vampire? I mean, he was the man, we know the myth, or some of us know the myth of who the hell was Max Schreck, and you approached it, well, rather interestingly, for me at least. So how was it?
Max Schreck, I don't know how many of you know this movie. It's not it's known some, but I imagine a lot of you haven't seen it. But I play this actor. Well, the story is he's a real vampire that becomes an actor to play a vampire. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a big art house hit in Greece.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah. Good. The way I approached it was real simple. I had real strong models. I mean, I had the original. I had Nosferatu. I had a huge literal mask and otherwise mask to not hide behind, but when you look in the mirror, when you're in all that makeup, I had a lot of heavy makeup in this. You look different, you feel different, that opens the door. And then as far as behavior and physicality, you have the model in Nosferatu, so you start out by copying it. And of course, it's not the same, so then you start to veer off from that, but that's really the starting place. So it's the most, sometimes by copying something, by finding a model, and you start out by trying to be faithful to it, but then slowly you veer away by virtue of your limitations or by virtue of what is needed in the exercise, and you make a third thing. And I think that always happens. You take yourself, you take something outside yourself, you join those two things to make a third thing. And it's, when you've got a strong model, it's it's really great because it's liberating. You have something, that thing that I talked about before about preparation, something, a trick up your sleeve, some place to start, was very strong in this case.
Kyrios, Dukla, for one question, and I think the lady there has been very patient.
Hello.
Sorry, it's your hair.
I believe, as far as I know, that the film industry, and especially the Hollywood industry, kind of frees the actors in some roles, you know. That happens to many great actors, like Al Pacino, the mafia guy, or Jack Nicholson, the psycho guy, you know. So have you ever felt that you have freeze in a role, or that there are some characters that you couldn't even try to play?
You know, when I was younger, I was more probably concerned about typecasting. But as I do more movies, I get more relaxed about it. But at the very beginning, I was very conscious of it, of basically playing heavy, playing a villain. But that still persists some. I'm forgetful today. What's the second part? I'm sorry.
That there are some characters that you couldn't play.
You know, there have been a couple occasions where someone has asked me to do something, and I said, and I would say, you know, it's interesting, but I think it's not such a good role for me. Not because I'm there to win prizes. I just think, you know, you got to work with what you have, and you can adjust it with certain things, but there are certain things that you can't just change. You got to be humble about what your capacity to change is, or what is coming off of you, and you got to measure that in. And on many occasions, the person has usually said, the director has usually said, "You idiot, that's why I want you to do it. If you were closer to this character, I wouldn't be so interested. I want you to go towards it. I want to find the air in it." That happened with many roles. Something like T.S. Eliot, when I played him, I was a huge fan of his work, but I knew enough about him personally that I thought, this is stupid. He's tall, he's reedy, he's more English than the English. And the guy said, yeah. And I said, I'm not. I'm 5'9" tall. I'm a kid from Wisconsin. I'm an actor. I can change, but I don't think I physically have enough to work with. And he said, no. I want you to, you know, go toward it. And I think, I don't know whether it was successful or not, but it was interesting enough for me to try.
That's all for today, I'm afraid. I want to thank you all for being here, and thank you, Mr. William Dafoe.
Capaz, dime. ¿Sacas capaz?
Alright, I'm only a 3-minute this festival.
Yeah, I'll be pleased to get a photo with William.
He's going to be back for a press conference, so you shouldn't worry. He's going to be warehouse safe. Warehouse safe.
Okay.
We really have a tight schedule. Thank you all so much. 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock warehouse safe. Okay?
3 horas,